Nikola Jokic is having the greatest offensive season in NBA history.
Let's go.
And he might be the greatest offensive player of all time.
I am so on board. Please lay this out for anyone that has not been awoken yet.
We are about 1/4 of the way through the regular season, so Patrick and I are going to be doing our biggest overreactions to what's happened so far. Let's get into foul trouble.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good.
On this wonderful holiday week, we're recording on Wednesday, so hopefully we can get this to you guys while you're traveling back home to your respective lives. Are you a Thanksgiving guy, James?
It's all right. I like it.
I'm a big Thanksgiving guy. My mom is an incredible cook. She's coming out to California. I'm very excited. I'll be attending multiple Thanksgivings on Thanksgiving. So I'm pretty excited.
I weirdly like the whole everything surrounding Thanksgiving more than the holiday itself. Like I like that, people kind of work a half day on the Wednesday. People usually take the Friday off. It's kind of like a mini vacation, but you don't leave. You kind of just stay and, do some, pick up on your hobbies. That's what I usually do. And then I love every Thanksgiving morning I play a game of football with some friends. So that's my favorite part.
Yeah, good old turkey bowl.
There's
nothing better than that. But we have some overreactions and just general foul troubleness to get to.
Yeah, we do. Well, we were going to start now this with best take, worst take.
I found a worst take of the week that brought me great joy, just immense joy. And so my worst take of the week goes to JJ Redick, who was asked before last night's absolute drumming by the Phoenix Suns. He was asked how he thinks the Lakers will respond to the blowout loss to Denver. And he said he's confident that they're going to have a great response. Well, you know what, James? That was a terrible take because they lost by over 20 points to your Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, that game
as simple as that.
That game was so ugly I turned it off to watch college basketball for the first time in my life. So that's that I don't know. I think that speaks on the quality of that game. I think what's more embarrassing for the Lakers is as lethargic as the Lakers looked, I feel like the Suns came and matched the lethargic energy. So it's not even like an energy imbalance thing for the Lakers. Like they just got beat.
The Suns were like a bear crawling out of hibernation. Like they weirdly. When do teams have 5 days off in the middle of the regular season before Thanksgiving? That's what they had. Their 2 stars off for 2 weeks. And yeah, the energy was weird, but let me tell you, the energy in my apartment was very high watching that game. I don't care if it's ugly. A dub's a dub, especially against the Lakers. Who are you awarding your worst take of the week award to?
I got to go with Rashad McCants. Now, this guy is a sneaky Gilbert Arenas in hiding. This guy has the worst takes week after week. He's just not always on podcasts. But Rashad McCants said Russell Westbrook is statistically the greatest point guard of all time. That is a horrible take. I don't know what statistic would measure that, but that is the worst take.
Triple doubles
of this early season, in my opinion.
All Rashad McCants sees are triple doubles and opportunities to say crazy things on podcasts.
All right. So, Max, who had the worst take this week? Rashad McCants or
JJ Redick?
JJ Redick.
I'm going to have to give it, even though I don't like enabling James's Westbrook hate, I'm going to have to give it to Rashad McCants just because Patrick's take or his choice is just clearly homerism, just at its finest.
I understand.
Yeah, I feel like you can't really give worst take to a coach for being like, oh, we just got blown out. What do you expect? Oh, we're going to get blown out again. Like, he's not going to say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
You got to get some coach leeway there.
It was definitely just a opportunity for me to rub it into James and all Lakers fans' faces.
All right, well, shall we get to our biggest three over? How many did you have? I have 3.
Yeah, I had 3.
3.5. I have 3.5.
3 is the perfect number. James, what did you have for? What do you want to throw on the table?
My biggest overreaction to the first 18 or so games. Nikola Jokic is having the greatest offensive season in NBA history.
Let's go.
And he might be the greatest offensive player of all time.
I am so on board. Please lay this out for anyone that has not been awoken yet.
Okay, yeah. So I think a lot of, people are kind of sick of Jokic praise at this point, kind of like they were LeBron praise. But like what Jokic is doing is what LeBron's never done, what Jordan's never done, what no one's ever done. He's averaging 29.7 points, 13.4 rebounds, 10.9 assists. So right now he's second in assists, first in rebounds, and like third in scoring. There was a point like a week ago where he was first in everything for a brief moment.
Take that, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, so I will say I'm going to call myself out for this little bit of a cherry pick stat. The Nuggets bench is apparently the worst one since the 2011 Hornets. But given that, the Nuggets are 30 points better, 34 points better per 100 possessions on offense with Jokic on the floor. That means during the 100 possessions with Jokic, they score 17 more buckets. That's an insane number. For perspective, Giannis, who has a team with a subpar bench as well, Giannis is only upping his team by like 3.4 points. Jokic is 10 times the offensive impact on an on-off basis. Granted, his team's bench sucks, so that's a little overstated. But, I mean, this is just an insane carry job. The Nuggets starting lineup, Patrick, has a 134 offensive rating.
Jesus Christ.
It's like by far the best offensive rating of any starting lineup in the NBA right now. They are just... When Jokic is on the floor, the Nuggets just... They can't... It's like if them missing is more of a surprise than them making it. So I don't even know where to go. He's the best. I think he is straight up the best passer. What differentiates him from a guy like Trae Young or Luka, who he's competing against for this assist title this year, is like Jokic's assists so much more come in the flow of the offense than those guys. Those guys are playing so much heliocentric ball. Jokic is just, it's way more in the flow of the offense. I feel like the vision is even better than Doncic. And yeah, I mean, also he's the most unguardable player. He's leading the league in 3-point scoring percentage. And I mean, we're at the point now we're almost 1/4 of the way through the season. So yes, that'll dip down. But miraculously, despite Jokic basically setting every offensive record on fire, his scoring at the rim is down a little bit, which means any regression to the mean we're getting from his 3-point, we're also going to get from his rim shots. I mean, this is the greatest offensive season ever. I can't even think of what number 2 is. Maybe him from last year?
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's good to bear in mind that one, a lot of this season has been played without Aaron Gordon, which maybe that's bumping up the on-off stats just a little bit, but in general, that's just making his entire life more difficult. The Nuggets are depending on him to rebound at a higher rate and a more crucial rate than at almost any point in the last couple years of Nuggets basketball. And when we look at guys like, Jason Tatum, Giannis, I mean, he's got the Nuggets with, I think, especially without Gordon, a much worse overall talent level, right around there record-wise at 9-7. I mean, I think both of us were a little nervous about what the Nuggets would be as a regular season team. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's that much more to say, but I think, would you say Jokic is the leader in the clubhouse for MVP right now?
Yeah, I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
To the point where another overreaction could be, I think he's already won it.
Yeah. I mean, if he could just stay around these averages, which like we've seen him do before, I don't really see the argument, because there always is the like degree of difficulty thing too. Like no one in their right mind can look at what Jason Tatum is dependent on to do with the amount of talent around him and what Jokic is expected to do and just judge them on an even playing field, because they're not playing on even playing fields.
No, I mean, this guy's insane. All right, Patrick, what is your first overreaction of the season?
All right, my first overreaction of the season is that the Los Angeles Lakers can never be a contender with their current defense. The Los Angeles Lakers are sporting a defensive rating of, and this was from yesterday, it got much worse after the Suns game. It got to about, or I guess now it's 118.3. But that is tied with the New Orleans Pelicans and the Utah Jazz for second worst in the NBA. And I just don't really see, I actually see like a little bit of room for it to get worse. Like teams are not shooting lights out from 3 against this team just yet. They're shooting like 36%, which is pretty middle of the road. Like it could go either way. And with the lackadaisical perimeter defense that we see from Austin Reeves, we see from D'Angelo Russell, constantly, I don't really see like that getting better, and there is a little room for it to get worse. But it really shows its head in the half court. They're allowing 98 points per possession in the half court, which is in the 19th percentile in the league. Just really, really rough. They've been a really lackluster rebounding team, 28th in total rebounds just in the league thus far, which with a guy like Anthony Davis on like kind of a heater, you're expecting him to be but much better. But, it's just, and you're also like, you look at their individual net ratings, D'Angelo Russell is actually, when he's been on the court, the Lakers have been like plus 12.7 points on the defensive end, minus 12.7. You get what I'm saying. They've been much better, which is like, he's not doing much. Like, I don't want D'Angelo Russell to be the bright spot of my defense. And also they have been dead last in transition defense throughout this season. So like, I've been shocked with just how sexy their offense has looked. Dalton Connect has been an absolute find. You can take him or Jared McCain as like the early season front runner for Rookie of the Year. But I don't see how it gets much better. And with a defense this poor, I don't think you can parlay that elite offense into like actual contender status.
Yeah, damn, this is the anti-Laker hour from Patrick. But is that an overreaction or just a proper reaction? Because this was a big concern you had coming into the season with this team.
It was a big concern. I didn't expect it to be this bad. The reason why I think it might be an overreaction is, one, they're playing Dalton Connect more and more minutes. I like him positionally, like size-wise, and I think any rookie I expect to be like really, really bad coming into the season. And then LeBron, honestly, from what I don't watch every Laker game, but I've seen quite a few Laker games. He has just not been engaged there. So I think like from the wing positions, as well as Jared Vanderbilt getting back, I think there are like certain bright spots that you could point to if you're a Lakers fan, and like, here's where we could improve. Here's where we could improve. And the last couple years, just net rating wise, the Lakers have not been a good defensive team. And at least last year when they made it to the playoffs, they were able to spike up their defensive efficiency once they got to the playoffs. So I think like if they were to get to the dance, maybe they could really show out. And then also there's midseason moves. They do have a couple of things that they could do. They have a couple picks they could trade. They have a couple young players like a Jalen Hood-Schifino and whatnot that,
That's a negative asset, my friend.
it's not great, but
he's the worst player on a team with Bronny James on it.
It's a small contract that maybe you could get some tanking team to give up on a right now piece for. But yeah, I mean, I'm thinking it's probably not an overreaction, but I will give the space for optimism for Lakers fans because we are still pretty early in the season and they have a pretty good record, although a lot of the wins have come against some pretty easy competition.
Yeah, especially recently. Yeah, I feel like the Lakers kind of have this problem where if you can get Anthony Davis spaced out on the perimeter, you kind of just solved how to score on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big issue. Also, just not having a real backup big. And also, like, I mean, the year they won the championship, it was not a great offense, but just being able to, maybe not a great offense, but a good overall team playing with double bigs, like, I don't know. Maybe they should go back to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty pro.
At least
big.
have a double big lineup that you can go to.
Because, like, one thing is, like, they have really good shooting from the guard position. And, like, if you're going to make a double to big lineup work, that's kind of like square one in the modern NBA that you have to have. And they have that. So it's like, it could maybe work.
Yeah. All right. My next overreaction, I think this is an actual, maybe a way overreaction. Patrick, the Sacramento Kings need to tank.
Oh, okay. Lay this out for me. Cover your ears, Sacramento.
Okay, so the Kings are 8-10, and I'm not really overreacting to them being 8-10. And granted, I'm even going to give the Kings fans, I'm not just hating on the Kings. You know, I feel like I come off as a Kings hater. A lot of their recent losses have been pretty close, and they did start a bit better than their current record indicates. But Patrick, what is the long-term vision for this team? Like, Fox is 26, Sabonis is 28. Like, right now, if you just said, here's your building blocks, you've got Keegan Murray, you've got Sabonis, and you've got Fox. Would you rather have that or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, and J-Dub? This team just seems like a significantly worse version of OKC with way less upside. They're worse now. They're going to be worse as the OKC guys who are currently younger get older. I think if this team can't pick up a top 5 pick in this draft or get some sort of game-changing big wing or somebody to figure out how to make a double big with Sabonis work, like the vision for this team is just, what is the vision for this team? Where are you going? I mean, they might not even make the playoffs this year. You know, like the Wolves, who are not even in the play-in, are currently still ahead of them. Like, I think the Wolves will finish better than them. Maybe they pass the Spurs and the Clippers, probably the Clippers, but like, I don't know, San Antonio, I kind of like the way they've looked. And the thing with the Kings is, like, right now their most played lineups are actually scoring very, very well, and they're actually being pretty good on defense. But I think they're due for both offensive regression downward and defensive regression upward in a bad way. And I just don't really see, like, what is the 3-year outlook for this Kings team? Like, what are you hoping to achieve this year, next year? Like, with this core, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great point that I haven't really heard laid out yet, because yeah, they aren't getting better and they're only getting more expensive. And I think, like, once you get to the area where you're thinking about, like, going into the first apron, going into the second apron to keep together a, like, very old team of DeRozan and Sabonis, and I mean, Fox isn't super old yet, but he's getting up there. You know, he's definitely squarely in his prime.
I feel like
I don't know how you jump teams. Yeah.
When you trade for DeMar DeRozan, like, between this and him signing with the Bulls, is that like the breaking case of team isn't working? Just throw DeRozan at it and hope it works out? Because I feel like that's what DeRozan has become for these two teams.
It's when you really need the real hoopers to buy some of your jerseys, so you start selling DeRozan jerseys.
Yeah. So the thing with the Kings is their draft pick this year is top 12 protected from the Atlanta Hawks. Ooh. They're not a free agency destination, so they have to tank to get into the top 12 because they're just not going to, I don't know. I just feel like this team isn't going anywhere and they need to get a young player. I don't really see what even the counter argument could be. Maybe I'm overreacting to a slow start, but like, when I think about it logically, like, I don't like the core as much as the other Western cores.
Yeah. I mean, let's go over like what the Kings wins have been this season. Their last win was against the Jazz. And then they won against the Suns twice without KD and Beal. They won against the Raptors. They won against the Heat, who have definitely had a shaky start to their season. They won against the Jazz again. They won against the Trailblazers, and
that's it.
That's
this
tough. Those aren't good wins. Those are not good quality wins, and they have a lot of teams to jump, like you said.
Yeah, they're playing the Timberwolves tonight. I don't know. I don't. And they broke the Sabonis over AD monster streak loss this year. That's like the one thing they had going for them.
What else do you have other than the beam? I think if I'm looking at trading any of these guys, it's Sabonis. I think you got to strike while the iron's hot. I'm a Sabonis fan, and I think he's a really talented player, but it's a very specific build that you have to have around him, and I don't I don't quite think the all offense build is that build. And
No,
that's what the Kings have committed to.
Yeah, it's hard to remember. Like when he was with the Pacers, there was a lot of like, why doesn't it work with him and Miles Turner if Miles Turner can shoot threes? And it's like, it's one of those things with Sabonis where it's not ideal, but if you really want to win a championship, that's the team build that actually works with Sabonis winning a chip. And I think those Pacers teams didn't fail because of the Sabonis Turner pairing as much as it was the guys around them.
Yeah, I also think like it's extra tough to have like a point guard that is your main source of offense if you're building around Sabonis, because there's just you just end up putting so much on your point guard's plate, like the scoring and then the added like defense like that you need from. I think in a perfect world, if Sabonis is on a team and he's not your best player, it's like you're getting most of your scoring from the wing and your two guards are like really, really switchable, rock solid defenders, which just isn't the case on the Kings.
Yeah, I'm all in on De'Aaron. I think De'Aaron could easily be a 1A. Maybe not a 1A, but he can at least be a number 2 option on a championship team. I definitely think De'Aaron has it in him, and he's in the prime of his career. He's got probably 4 more years like this. Like, I feel like they need to reshuffle the team around De'Aaron. But
you could so see him playing like the role that Kyrie just played on the Mavs. Like,
yeah,
De'Aaron Fox could do that.
De'Aaron Fox could definitely do that. All right, Patrick, what is your next overreaction?
All right, my next overreaction. This is a lost season for the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't know if it is an overreaction even at this point, but the New Orleans Pelicans are 4-14 right now.
Patrick, I'll do you better on this overreaction.
Hit me.
They need to trade everybody.
They
roster.
just might. Like,
they need to trade the whole, like, Zion's fat. He's out. Brandon Ingram he was hooping to start, but he's still Brandon Ingram. I mean, Trey Murphy, I feel like was supposed to have an all-star jump. You know, I mean, he had the injury to start out with. Let me just put it in these terms. 4 teams in NBA history have ever come back from a 22% or worse winning percentage in the first 18 games of the season. That's already like you're way behind the 8 ball right there. But New Orleans Pelicans fans might say, hey, one of those 4 teams was the 2021 New Orleans Pelicans. So I pulled it up. What was the state of the Western Conference 18 games into that 2021-2022 season? Well, the New Orleans Pelicans were 3-15. And they were behind teams like the Dame Blazers that ended up shutting down Dame during that season, and they jumped the Blazers. They were behind the Russ and LeBron and AD Lakers, who ended up having major injury struggles and just kind of giving up on the season. They were behind the tanking Thunder that shut down Shea, the DeJounte Murray Spurs that just were not a great team, the Kings, who fired Luke Walton midseason, and the Clippers, who they beat in the play-in, who were without Kawhi for large swaths of that season. All that to say, that's not going to happen this year. Like there are not 7 teams in front of them that I think are going to just give up on this season. This Western Conference is too elite, and it brings up the point, James, what you were just saying. Like, what is the move? Is it maybe just shut down your guys for this season? Is it try to like recoup assets, like go for an Ace Bailey, go for a Cooper Flag, or just like, hey, let's try to find a home for Zion. I don't think they're going to find a home for Brandon Ingram. They were looking all off season and nobody was interested. And they just invested 2 first-round picks on DeJounte Murray. I'm sure they would like that Lakers first-round pick back right about now, but I don't think the Hawks are going to be interested in giving that to them. Yeah, the Pelicans are an absolute mess. And I mean, we flagged that they decided to go into this season without a center other than Yves Missy, who, has had some flashes here and there. When the NBA puts out their like leaders in all stat categories Instagram posts, I feel like he's usually on that blocks one. But I don't know. I feel like the Pelicans have this weird thing where I feel like, circa late 2010s, early 2020s, it was like just get as many big, small forwards that can play 2 or 4 as you possibly can. And like 3 years ago, we're like, wow, Dyson Daniels and Trey Murphy and Brandon Ingram, and they have all these guys they can play. And now it's like, actually, now you kind of want like big men again.
Yeah.
The league shifting back. And then it's like they're in this weird, late 2018 team building philosophy, and they've kind of just never grown out of it. And I don't know.
Also, it's just like the two, like we're in positionless basketball era, but the two positions that didn't go away are point guard and center, and they don't really have any of those, especially with Murray injured.
I feel like the NBA, like getting rid of the traditional point guard was like NFL teams thinking running backs didn't mattering anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like and then all the good teams were like, wait, I can get Derrick Henry and Saquon for pennies. Like, okay, yeah, we'll just be really good now.
I do have a Pelicans trivia question for you. Would you like to hear it?
Lay it on me.
So, the Pelicans' last game, their game against the Indiana Pacers, they had a point guard that had 21 assists in
Elfrid
that
Payton.
game. Elfrid Payton. I didn't even realize he was back in the league.
900-day break, and he's back.
Yeah, that was my last little bit about the Pelicans. But yeah, I had to shout out
Patrick,
Louisiana legend Elfrid Payton.
Do you want an Elfrid Payton trivia question? I
would love
trivia.
one.
I loved Elfrid Payton in that draft. I was obsessed with him. I wanted the Heat to draft him
Raging
so badly.
Cajun, baby.
Yeah, I wanted the Heat to draft him so badly. And then when he got blocked by his own hair, like 4 years later, I was like, okay, maybe it was good that we didn't.
The Suns traded for him from as the next team after Orlando, and I had 100% talked myself into him. And I think in his first game, he had a triple double, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we got Magic Johnson. We're gonna be great. This is
fun.
Devin Booker's backcourt mate.
I like Elfrid Payton. He's fun.
He just can't shoot.
Last overreaction, and then I have a half overreaction. Joel Embiid should get traded.
Woo! To where, James? To where?
So I don't understand how this would be pulled off. I didn't look into the apron rules, but I saw the Pacers are the betting favorite.
Really?
Which I don't quite understand as a scheme fit. And I saw the Knicks were like second, which again, maybe, but it seems like the Big Bodega has been pretty good for them so far.
Yeah, I would definitely not want to swap him out for Joel Embiid right this second.
Yeah, maybe not right this second, but that's why this is a reaction. I just feel like this Philadelphia situation is really bad. I know that Embiid's barely played and he has looked bad. His knee looks bad. I just genuinely think we're over the hill and we're on the downside of Joel's career now. I think whatever this knee injury was that he sustained last year clearly fucked him up in the Olympics, clearly is messing him up now. He's had so much time to rehab it. Now, granted, he did drop 50 on the Knicks playing on that bad knee in the playoffs, but I still think this whole Philadelphia situation is really bad. Like, they had this locker room leak that Maxey told him he needs to take more accountability, and then Chris Vernon saying he's not leaving for the game until an hour after everybody else. There's more stories dropping that even after the meeting, Embiid is still being tardy. Paul George is going on a podcast, and they're like, Paul George, who is the snitch? And every comment is like, look at Paul George's body language. He's the snitch.
And he can't go 3 games without hyperextending his left knee.
Yeah, and I'm just, this team should have this team should be like the Thunder in their, asset collection / current talent accumulation, given everything they've done since 2012, going back that far. But especially, I don't know.
Imagine preseason, I told you that Jared McCain was the odds-on favorite to win Rookie of the Year. How are the Sixers doing? You would have said they were the number 1 seed with a bullet.
Yeah, dude, this team is bad. And I don't really see, I do think if they got last year's Joel Embiid, a lot of these role guys would magically start looking a lot better, but I just don't think they're going to get that. At least I don't think they're going to get that for at least 3 or 4 months. And it seems like the culture in the locker room is really bad. And I also feel like Philadelphia is this type of city where if the city turns on you, it's kind of over for your career there.
So the Thunder own the 76ers' top 6 protected first-round pick. Do the Sixers draft with that pick this year? I guess is the question.
I feel like they should. They're going to have to maybe try to trade for that pick back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if the Sixers can like tank with. I don't know. George and Embiid have been bad, and we've seen that Maxey can only do so much without proper like defensive infrastructure around him.
The vibes are really bad. The results are really bad. Yeah, I don't know what the answer. I was thinking this Sixers reminds me of like if the Los Angeles Clippers stars of last year had the Los Angeles Lakers role players of last year. Like it's just like all of their signings other than Gershon Yabusele have been like a complete clusterfuck disaster. Like so many of like I think Kyle Lowry, who like played
is
really
old.
well for them in the playoffs last year, is just a year too deep. I don't know why I was screaming from the rooftops not to sign Eric Gordon, but they did it anyways. And he's too far. Caleb Martin, I think that we might just have to chalk him up to a Eric Spoelstra magic trick once again. It's I honestly feel bad for the 76ers. Like I feel like I went through this kind of last year to a smaller extent, but this is so much worse.
Can I have another overreaction, a mini one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that we see how bad Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent truly are we not giving Jimmy Butler enough credit?
Maybe
for being the best forward of the 2020s.
I feel like we are definitely not giving Eric Spoelstra enough credit, and we are probably not giving Jimmy Butler enough credit. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Gabe Vincent too. Damn.
Gabe Vincent was playing huge minutes while that
he was amazing. It was like you felt really, really just say you're like if you're cheering for the Heat in those games, you're like, okay, good. Gabe Vincent's got the ball. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
But what was crazy was that we did not feel that way during that regular season. He looked like the Lakers Gabe during the regular season that year.
Yeah, and then I mean Caleb Martin just he sees green, he decides not to miss another three.
Yeah. Well, that's
which is how
the Sixers need to beat their Celtics curse. Yeah.
Hey, well, they might play him in the first round this year if they're lucky enough to get to the playoffs.
We'll see. I mean, that's the thing. I do think if the Sixers don't trade Embiid and they hold the course, I really do think they will make the playoffs because they're just not that many games back. They just happen to be 5 games better than like the Pistons over the next 70 games, 65 games. Like they can do that.
Yeah. No, I think they still have a fair chance of getting to the playoffs. That's why I made my like freak out they're gonna miss the playoffs portion of this podcast about the Pelicans instead of the 76ers. But from like a larger scale view, I don't know what you grab onto and you're like, this is how it gets better, because it just
you gotta trade the big fella.
Yeah, I guess. And it's
all
like
right.
what can you trade him for?
I don't know. All right.
Okay, my last overreaction is the Pacers are a fraud. The Pacers' whole run last season was a fraud, and for this simple reason, I was so high on the. I was so high on the Pacers coming into this season, but their offensive efficiency per 100 possessions has dropped by 8 points to start this season, from 121.6, which is one of the highest offensive ratings we have ever seen in the history of the NBA, to 113.2. Their defense has roughly stayed the same, and that's after getting like a pretty great year from Pascal Siakam to begin. And I mean, mainly my main focus of this overreaction, Tyrese Haliburton. I'm worried about him. I'm really, really worried about him. To start this season, he's averaging 16 points, 8 assists, and 3 rebounds on 39% shooting from the field, shooting 32% from 3, which is just by far the worst percentage of his career. He's not sneaking up on anybody anymore. When he comes into a game with the Pacers, he is the number 1 person on their scouting report. And it's like, I think it shows right now. I'm hoping he can bounce back. I feel like this is the truest form of an overreaction. But they've had a lot of really, really rough losses lately. And I don't know how much Pacers basketball you have watched this season, James, but it's like they've lost to the Raptors. They lost to the Magic when they were still kind of reeling. They've lost to the Hornets. They've lost to the Pelicans, one of the few Pelicans wins.
Straight to jail.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if you're a Pacers fan, you should be very worried, because I think, especially with how the Eastern Conference has shook out to start this season, you should have expected to be up in that upper echelon of Eastern Conference contenders, and you find yourself sitting at 8-10 in the 7th seed. I just think you could easily find yourself on the outside looking in of this play-in race if you're not careful, because the 76ers are coming. The Brooklyn Nets have been by far more impressive to me than what the Pacers have been able to do.
Brooklyn Nets just beat the Warriors.
The Brooklyn Nets have been great. The Pistons have been really good. The Bulls have impressed. And that's just all like, I'm not saying any of these teams are world beaters. I don't think any of the teams I just listed are like threats to win a playoff series, but I don't know if the Pacers are either with what I've seen thus far this season.
Yeah, it's rough. Who would have thought a team with, I mean, they have some tough, gritty guys on the wings, but I don't love the defensive infrastructure myself.
Yeah. And I will say, not Andrew Nemhart. What's their big wing's name?
Mathurin?
Not Mathurin.
Nesmith.
Nesmith has been out. He's been in and out of the lineup. So, of course, he is a lot of what they do on the defensive end, but he's a role player. Like, I need to see a spike in scoring from you. They're not going to win with their defense, especially in the regular season. They're winning with their offense, and that's just not been there.
Yeah. All right. I have, I kind of agree with your overreaction there. I have one mini overreaction.
What's your mini overreaction?
My mini overreaction? I'm calling it a mini overreaction because I'm not reacting to the whole, so the NBA season has been going on for about a month and 5 days. I'm really only reacting to the last 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Castle is going to win Rookie of the Year.
Woo! Wow. Okay. I mean, I've seen the flashes. He's
good. He can hit some deep threes. Now, granted, the efficiency overall isn't quite there. I don't think it matters for Rookie of the Year. I think, if Chris Paul inevitably misses time, and it feels like Stephon Castle's more and more involved with every Spurs game, clearly he's going to be a guy. I don't know. McCain is a great scorer. He's really giving you nothing else, and I feel like Castle's going to be more of the overall package. And I think as the season progresses and George and Embiid regain their primacy, McCain's scoring will go down, and I think Stephon Castle's scoring is only going to go up. And Dalton Connect is awesome. I think he has a shot too, but I do think Connect is going to have that same problem McCain has, where I don't really know what he's giving you outside of the scoring.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, I like that. That's especially the McCain like math. It really makes sense. Like when they are dying to get into the play-in, like they're going to take the ball out of his hands and put it in their 3 max players' hands.
Yeah, I just feel like if the Spurs do end up with 43 wins and Castle's, averaging 18 a game and he's really help Wemby out, like I don't know how you can give it to the guy in the 20-win team.
Yeah, I mean it's Rookie of the Year.
It is Rookie of the Year, but you know what I mean. Like if Castle's doing the same thing on it, because the Spurs were not supposed to be good, and they so far have been better than the Pacers and the Kings, 2 teams we talked about.
Yeah. No, I mean I think. Yeah, he's right there in the thick of it. I think he's got to be, for even the biggest Stephon Castle hater out there. Like I don't see how you can really put him like out of top 5 of Rookie of the Year.
Who is the biggest
right now?
Is that somebody we know? Who's the biggest Stephon Castle hater?
I don't know, but if you're listening to this podcast, please.
Is it you, Patrick? You said
it might be.
Why are you a Stephon Castle?
No, I like Stephon Castle.
You just don't like the Spurs.
I don't like the Spurs. It's true. I will say this version of the Spurs. I'm still like a very big Wemby guy, and they haven't done anything to hurt me emotionally yet. So I'm okay with them right now.
They will.
I know they will. For the next 20 years.
All right. You have any other mini reactions, overreactions?
I've got my only other mini reaction is that the Phoenix Suns with their big three, they're 8-1. They're the best team in the world. And no, I'm just bullshitting. That's all I have for today. Should we get to hot streak shooting slump?
Yeah, let's do it. Max, why don't we start with you, man?
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like I'm gonna go slump. Slump.
Why? What's slumping you?
What's slumping me? Okay. Well, I mean, I think honestly, this is pretty common, but like this time of year, work slows down a little bit. So kind of just like, less work is nice in some ways, but it also means less money, which is kind of a bummer. And it's looking like it's going to be pretty slow for the rest of the year. That's just the way it goes. It's also just looking like my boys, the Timberwolves. It's looking pretty slow in Minneapolis as well.
Hey, at least we didn't talk about them on this podcast. We'll let them get a little bit more arranged.
Yeah, I do appreciate you, showing some grace and faith in the squad. But yeah, I don't know. 2 L's this week. On the bright side, we are figuring out how to use Rob Dillingham, which I am very excited about. He's getting some minutes and he's scoring some big buckets. Like, we only lost by 3 points to the Celtics the other night, and that's in a game where Jaylen Brown scored 5 threes within 3 minutes of the first quarter. And we were down by 19, and we figured out a way to bounce back and make it a 3-point game. And Dillingham had like 16 points, and he was like shooting threes and doing like tricky layups and like really helping inject some like we were getting transition points. We haven't gotten transition points this entire season. It was like, oh yeah, that's right. If you have like a really fast, agile guy who can just run back immediately, you can get transition points. It's possible.
You can't speed up Julius Randle, Max. You gotta let him cook.
Yeah, I'm just feeling a little slumpy, but I am excited for Thanksgiving tomorrow. I am a fan of eating. So
yeah. You have big plans?
Yeah, I'm doing like a
family thing, friend thing.
Just a Friendsgiving. I'm going to get together with like 8 to 10 other people that are all kind of staying in town for the holiday. And we're just doing it potluck style. And I'm sure I'm going to feel sick this time tomorrow.
There we go.
Shortly.
As you should.
What about y'all? Are we slumping?
No, I'm on a major hot streak right now.
Go.
I'm doing great. Let's see. My last week, I had like a screening for this film that I wrote and starred in that I'm very excited to post. This little like comedy short that I did that I'm excited about finally being done with. But ASU football, I am so back on the horse. 10-win season for the first time in like 10 years. I am so excited. We play U of A on Friday, and that with like we're expected to win. We will see. College football is weird, but if ASU wins, I'll be able to watch with my dad, who is coming in town. The reason why I'm an ASU sports fan, Arizona State. For those who don't know, go Devils. Very excited for that. Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal came back. That was awesome. Just a lot of families coming in town for Thanksgiving. But super big highlight, guys. And I gotta show the other side of me. I saw Wicked on Saturday, and holy shit, it is fucking incredible. I grew up doing a lot of. I'm a musical guy. I love musical theater. But I am very easy to hate a musical theater movie because a lot of the times they are done absolutely terrible. I'm thinking Into the Woods. I'm thinking, I don't even love like Mamma Mia, but this Wicked movie, I didn't even really know the story going into it. I knew some of the songs, but I had never seen it before. When you're in the musical theater world, it's kind of unavoidable to know a lot of Wicked songs. But Ariana Grande, I think, is going to fuck around and like get nominated for a fucking Oscar. She is so funny in it. The visuals are absolutely like incredible. I enjoyed it so much. It absolutely made my weekend. Just the practical effects, the performances by Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande really made my weekend. And I'm excited to be getting into Thanksgiving, football, family. I love it. I'm on a hot streak.
Whoa, Wicked. All right. Maybe we have to go. I have to go see it. I got to support.
It's very good. It's very good.
Bro,
if you're open-minded to musicals, you'll like it.
I saw Gladiator 2, the other big new release, this past weekend, and I thought it was pretty sick. I actually highly recommend it. Some people are like kind of talking shit about it, and it's so sick. I think it's really good.
I have not seen Gladiator 1, but I am going to go see Gladiator 2 on Friday, so I'm excited.
Okay. I mean,
do I need to watch the first one to know it, understand it, or no?
I think it might enrich your experience slightly, because it is like it is a continuation of that story, but it's not like absolutely essential, I guess.
Okay, yeah, because I'm assuming they probably made it in a way where people like me can watch it and not be lost.
Yeah, maybe just watch like a YouTube recap. Yeah,
okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Spark Notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on a slump.
Hey.
No. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but I played pickup basketball last Tuesday, and I did not stretch. I got there right as the game had ended, and they're like, "All right, you guys ready?" And I'm like, yeah, sure." My body has just been hurting for a week. Not stretching, my body feels just awful. Idiotically, I played basketball again last night. Felt not good, felt terrible, but I found out, boys, I'm back up to 211 pounds. I'm like a fucking brick with legs right now. I don't know what the fuck happened. I've somehow gained 20 pounds over the last 2 months. I feel like my body doesn't look any different, so I'm a little concerned about why I'm
straight to the calves. To the calves.
Bro, I feel bad. I'm heavy. I'm actually feeling low-key a little depressed. Playing basketball, it's been like I can't leap anymore. I can't shoot anymore. I'm just awful.
You're being tough on yourself, James.
On myself. And then Saquon Barkley, my crown prince, rushed for 300 and something scrimmage yards. I don't understand. And I found out Saquon Barkley is getting paid less than Adrian Peterson was in 2012.
Wow. James, I really have to give you your flowers. I think you have dealt with this whole Saquon Barkley season so well. I've been like so much better than I would ever be able to deal with like a similar facsimile of one of my teams losing a Saquon Barkley player. But why is Saquon Barkley not squarely in the MVP race?
He should low-key be the NFL MVP. Like, high-key, he should be the NFL MVP.
Like, I'm watching all these quarterbacks every week, right? Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, like, they're all great. Josh Allen, they're great. But none of them are a better football player than Saquon Barkley. That dude is freaking great.
I think he's legitimately the best player in the NFL right now. Like, it's insane how anytime he touches the ball, it could be a touchdown.
And you could put him in any year in the history of the NFL, and he's the best player in the league.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
I
sorry.
feel like people don't understand like how I was such a Giants like message board homer. I remember I looked up after his rookie year. After his rookie season, so back then the preeminent running backs were McCaffrey, Gurley, and Elliott. After Saquon's rookie year, he had like as many 40-yard runs combined as all three of those guys for their careers after just one season. Like I feel like people don't realize how fucking bad the Giants were, and now they're seeing how good this guy is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But I just wanted to give you your flowers on that. You're dealing with it very well.
Thank you. But, some streaking I went to Orange County this weekend with my girlfriend. We had an amazing time. We rented a boat. We did some charcuterie. It was a lot of fun. Great time. We went to the beach. Got to check out those Orange County beaches there. The people
nice.
of Orange County are a bit strange, I gotta say. Sticking with that.
Yeah.
Um,
They love their flags. They do.
it's a beautiful place. The boat was fun. Yes, actually, I have a fun story about the boat. We're doing the boat around this Newport Beach Harbor, and our tour guide's like, "Yeah, so this is this person's job, and here's how they blackmailed the county to allow them to build this, and here's this island where they didn't like this one celebrity, so they formed an HOA, and they made it so you don't own your house, you just own a percentage of the." And I'm like, dude, so every big house here is just some sort of tax evasion. Like some of them are like, or is it art gallery that's open one day a year so they can not have to pay like house property tax? I'm like, bro, this is just house tax evasion. What are we doing?
Hey, rich people being rich. Rich people being rich.
Nothing better than just open corruption on the shores of our beautiful state of California. But
that's part of the tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess when we come back next week, we will know who is entering the knockout rounds. I think we'll know who's entering the knockout rounds of the Emirates NBA Cup.
I have not been following the Emirates NBA Cup. I'm not going to lie.
Don't worry. You don't have to follow the first 4 weeks, but it's going to get heated up next week.
Do we have any undefeated teams in this lovely Emirates Cup?
We do have some undefeated teams. If I'll even tell you them if you give me a second. So right now, the Milwaukee Bucks are 3-0. The Detroit Pistons and Orlando Magic and New York Knicks are all 2-0. You play 4 games overall. The Rockets in the Western Conference are 3-0, and then the Warriors are 3-0. The most interesting group is Group B, which has the Suns, the Lakers, the Spurs, the Thunder, and the Jazz. The Jazz are already eliminated, but those other teams are still alive in potentially making it to the knockout rounds. So it just depends on what happens on this Friday and next Tuesday.
Patrick, can I give you a fun stat about Group B that I'm noticing here?
Please.
So we know that point differential is the tiebreaker for this Cup games.
Yes.
The Lakers at 2-1 are closer in point differential to the 0-3 Jazz than any of the other teams.
That is crazy. Yeah, minus 16.
Minus
what
16
happened, Lakers? Well, don't worry. They only have to play the Thunder as their next group play game. So
it was
sure
fun.
It'll
We will
improve.
not have a repeat champion in the Emirates NBA Cup, I guess.
For the first time in history, we will not have a repeat champion.
All right. I think this is the part where we need to head off the pod.
Yeah, I think so. But happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. I'll see you next week. Peace.